make it make sense how a paedophile, convicted paedophile, and we're talking about very young children here, gets a suspended 12-month sentences, but a one Facebook post gets a middle-aged woman, what she said was stupid, not condoning that, but one Facebook post gets her 15 months in prison straight away with no chance for an early release. David, can you just make it make sense for me, please?
Dawn, I wish I...
Okay, so he said, I wish I could, so he can't, okay? I like how she framed, I mean, I think this is the entirety of what the point here in a very short video, right? So that's very good. She summarized the whole problem, right? But I like how she said, because a lot of the people who are defending the people who are getting arrested, they're defending what they are saying. I mean, some of them are vile, to be honest, right? The point is that it doesn't matter how vile they are. Some of them are being, we'll review what they're being arrested for, right? Be careful not to endorse the comments of the people who are being arrested. It doesn't matter if their comments are incorrect. You shouldn't be arrested for comments, even if they are vile, even if they're racist. Like, I'm not saying all of them are, some of the comments were not even racist. Like, we will review them right now, right? But to be fair, some of them were, right? But even they shouldn't be arrested. It's an expression of a thought. We should, when it comes to, guys, do you understand the concept of freedom of expression is not that we will defend the expression of views that we endorse. When we are defending freedom of expression, we are defending the expression of all beliefs, including the ones that we find vile and disgusting. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of the defending of freedom of expression. Because if we were defending only comments that we like, then we don't need it wouldn't require defending anyways, because everybody will just approve of them. So the whole point of freedom of expression is for you to defend the expression of thoughts that you actually hate, not the comments that you like. But that's why I like how she framed it. She was talking about, I don't endorse it, but what the fuck?
Can you make it make sense how a paedophile, convicted paedophile, and we're talking about very young children here, gets a suspended 12-month sentences, but a one Facebook post gets a middle-aged woman, what she said was stupid, not condoning that.
So I'm glad she clarified that she's not condoning it, okay?
But one Facebook post gets her 15 months in prison straight away with no chance for an early release. David, can you just make it make sense for me, please?
Dawn, I wish I...
All right, so let's look at an example. I don't know who this guy is. I mean, we reviewed one video of him before, but this guy apparently had this experience. What is this guy? Who's this guy? Hold on, let me see. This is video number 2. This is a journalist who's arrested in the UK under terrorist act law. Wow. He's okay. So let's listen to him. And again, I don't know if everything he's saying is correct. I might fact check it, but let's listen to his explanation of what happened, and I will see why he actually got arrested, whether what he's saying here is honest or not. So let's listen to him.
My name is Richard Thomas Medhurst. I'm an internationally accredited journalist from the United Kingdom. On Thursday, as I landed in London Heathrow Airport, I was immediately escorted off the plane by 6 police officers who were waiting for me at the entrance of the aircraft. They arrested me, not detained, they arrested me under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act of 2000 and accused me of allegedly, quote, expressing an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organization, unquote, but wouldn't explain what this meant. One officer took my bags, and when I asked why he was still back in the aircraft, I was told, look, mate, you can get nicked right here in front of everyone or in there, your choice. So I was taken to an adjacent room, patted down, my phone confiscated. I was not allowed to inform my family. Despite being calm and cooperative, I was handcuffed with something that placed my shoulders in an awkward position and my wrists on top of rather than next to each other. The handcuffs were extremely tight. Despite the police loosening them, they left marks on me for 2 days. The police took me down onto the runway, put me in a police van, essentially a mobile cage, and informed me that everything was being recorded. The van was cramped. I had to struggle the entire time to keep my balance and try not to fall over as we drove to the police station. Now, once inside the station, they searched me again for the second time within 10 minutes. I was told to sit on a bench, remove my shoes, remove my socks. I was told to turn my socks inside out and hold them up for the officers to inspect. They also made me hold up my feet so they could check them as well. The officers took me to a room with UV lights, which they told me is used to catch burglars who are sprayed with something. I have no idea why they did this since they just removed me off of a plane. My suitcase was then opened in the lobby and ransacked. All of my journalistic equipment and devices were seized, including phones, SIM cards, wireless microphones, headphones, even my shoelaces. They later took my DNA as well, my fingerprints, palm prints, and photographed me. I was placed in solitary confinement in a cold cell that smelt like urine. There was barely any light, and the bed, if you can even call it a bed, was simply a small concrete ledge with a paper-thin mattress. The cell had no windows, no heating, no toilet paper. I was recorded 24/7 with audio and video, even when going to the toilet. I had to eat food with a piece of cardboard that you were supposed to fold in two in order to scoop up the meal. The police said that I have the right to inform someone that I'm locked up. So I said, okay, I want to call my family. And then they'd go, well, your calls are withheld because of the nature of the alleged offense. I tried to ask, well, what's the point of a right if you can just randomly withdraw it? Why tell me that I have this right at all? And one of them said something along the lines of, well, it's not an absolute right, it can be waived. Similarly, they said I had the right to know why I was being detained. So I asked again, and the police would say something like, well, we're just the arresting officers, we don't really know. Or this will be explained to you during the interview, or some other generic response. Now, despite the police officer's civility and cheerfulness, I felt that the whole process was designed to humiliate, intimidate, and dehumanize me, and treat me like a criminal, even though they must have been aware of my background and that I'm a journalist. I was under surveillance almost the entire time, from the moment I was arrested until I was released, be it in the police van, in the station, the cell, all of it. No privacy whatsoever. Many of my requests were also delayed or outright ignored. When I was detained, I asked for water several times. The police would always say sure, but then I ended up waiting hours for a tiny cup of water. I asked if I could have my own clothes because I was in a t-shirt. It was cold and I couldn't sleep. They said they'd give me a pullover, but never did, although one guard did give me a second blanket. See, you have to nag and nag for the most basic things, and this is why I was afraid that they weren't even going to call a solicitor for me. I was able to see the nurse on one occasion, but on 3 other occasions, when I asked to see the nurse, they'd say yes and then nothing. For many hours, no one in the world knew what had happened to me or where I was. Only the police could call a solicitor for me. I had to ask like 4 or 5 different guards for several hours until I finally received a call. Some of my solicitor's calls did not get through or were not answered. One of the calls, my solicitor was told, would be monitored, and so they simply refused to take it. I asked to speak to the solicitor afterwards when that happened, but I was not allowed to. In total, I spent almost 24 hours in detention. At no point whatsoever was I allowed to speak to a family member or a friend. After waiting 15 hours, I was finally interviewed by 2 detectives. The interview lasted about an hour and a half, maybe something like that. So there's clearly no need to hold me there this entire time. But I believe this was done on purpose to try and rattle me psychologically. That failed. I categorically and utterly reject all the accusations by the police. I am not a terrorist. I have no criminal record. Prior to this incident, I'd never been detained in my entire life. I'm a product of the diplomatic community, and I'm raised to be anti-war. Both of my parents won Nobel Peace Prizes for their work as United Nations peacekeepers. They had a tremendous effect on my worldview and outlook, and instilled in me the importance of diplomacy, international law, and peace. I myself am a victim of terrorism. When I attended the British school in Islamabad, the Egyptian embassy adjacent to my school was blown up in a double bombing. I categorically and unequivocally condemn terrorism. I am a Medhurst. My family goes back 1,000 years in this country. I come from a long line of public servants. My father served in the London Metropolitan Police before entering the United Nations. He is an expert and an authority on counter-terrorism who taught me much. My grandfather was in the Royal Air Force during World War II, and his father before him in the British Army in World War I. I perhaps don't have the same career paths as them, but I consider my journalism to be a public service and my way of doing my bit for the country by providing a counterweight to mainstream media. I love my country.
Okay. Now he's just talking about himself. I don't care about that part. So yeah, I just double checked. He was arrested. By the way, guys, before I talk about what he said, why he was arrested, like what was the opinion that he was arrested for, do you agree that whatever it was, this is insane? Do you agree with that? Because I'm assuming a lot of you assume that he's one of the people that has been labeled as far right. But would you, because we reviewed this guy before, reviewed the video of this guy before, and we were against his views because, yeah, okay, so people are saying yes, okay. Because this guy actually has opinions that are completely opposite of ours. This guy is a Hamas sympathizer. This guy is actually an anti-Israeli advocate. And the reason why he was arrested was for his views regarding Hamas, right? So this is why I'm saying that we should be, but it's insane. So I'm glad a lot of you guys agree with me that this is insane, regardless of what this guy's views are. So let me actually, this is what Richard Medhurst was reportedly arrested for allegedly expressing support for Hamas. Again, if that's his view and that's what he's supporting, that's disgusting, that's vile, that is stupid, and that's idiotic, and this guy has stupid beliefs. But what the hell? Like, you shouldn't be arrested for that. That's not, I mean, that's insane that in the UK you could be arrested for your views, regardless of how disgusting or backwards or wrong they are. So, which is, so in the UK, that's considered to be prescribed organization under, okay, so it's considered a terrorist. It should be. Hamas is a terrorist organization under UK law. So Medhurst has been known to voice opinions that could be interpreted as supporting of Palestinian resistance, meaning Hamas basically, which in the context of UK law may have been construed as support for Hamas. His arrest under Section 12 of the UK's Terrorism Act 2000 was related to accusations of expressing opinions or beliefs supported. Okay, prescribed organization. Okay, so this is a good example of why this is not. What do you think? So for people who say ban Islam, or now that they're coming for what they refer to as far right, do you think the patriots, the people who consider Islam or mass migration to be a danger for the UK, do you think now that Starmer is going out and arresting people for their tweets, do you think that's going to make these beliefs increase or decrease? Do you think like a lot of the UK citizens who are concerned about their country because people who are getting arrested for tweets and Facebook posts, do you think they're going to be like, you know what? Let's tone it down a bit. Let's not fight for our country. Because I think that what Starmer is doing is going to get people more angry, more riled up, and more determined to fight for their country because they feel vindicated. They feel like they must be on the right side if the police is cracking down on them so in such a way. But in the same way, if you want to, from the other side, like, because we think everybody should have the freedom of expression, including Muslims, including people who are supporting Hamas, even though I am a Zionist, okay? I support Israel. I think this guy with his anti-Israeli beliefs should have freedom of expression. And if you say like, no, Armin, some views need to be illegal, do you seriously think that by making it illegal, these ideas are not going to spread? Like, for example, you saw how they treated this man, right? His voice is going to get louder because of his arrest. His opinions are going to get seen more. He's now on the news. More people are now curious about what this man has to say. He's going to be discovered by more people. Making opinions illegal is just not, it's not, even if you don't believe in free speech, strategically, it doesn't make any sense. Strategically, it's not going to suppress those ideas. It's just never works. Anyways, let's go. Are you guys convinced? Like, I'm not endorsing this guy. Obviously, this guy is an idiot who's a Hamas sympathizer, right? This guy is a terrorist sympathizing moron. But again, I will fight for his freedom of expression. He should be able to say what the hell he wants.